Do you want to be recorded arguing with me over this? Okay. All right. We are starting the judicial system. All right. We are section 5. So you're going to be looking at page 9 in your book. Page 9 in your book. Now, this is not, it's not a difficult chapter. We got a standard section. We have a standard section in our book. So just be looking out for the who, what, where, when, whys. All right, those are going to be your notes. All right. So the judicial system, or the judicial branch, is one of the 3 branches of government. We have already talked about the executive branch, which is George Washington, John Adams, and all of his cabinet, right? And we've talked a little bit about the legislative branch. The legislative is making laws, all right? The legislative branch is helping out George Washington get some of his people into that area, okay? But our legislative branch makes laws. We have the House of Representatives. We have the Senate, okay? One will make laws and it has to go over here and be checked over here on this side. So there's a lot of checking. Before anything becomes a law or becomes a rule or is in place, there is a lot of people going, we want this to happen, and a lot of people going, yeah, not going to. Okay, lots of voting happen. The judicial system's job is to check whether or not a law, the legislative or the executive branch, is constitutional. Does it follow the Constitution's laws? So I'm going to give you guys an example. Our First Amendment has freedom of speech. We have them all up here. Okay, the First Amendment prohibits the making of any law respecting an establishment of religion, impeding the free exercise of religion, abridging the freedom of speech, infringing on the freedom of the press, or interfering with the right for people to peacefully assemble, or prohibiting the petition for all government redress of grievances. Okay, what that means is if the legislation was to create a law that said all of you need to worship oranges. What? Let's say that was a law that they said, okay, you're going to worship an orange every day. Put an orange on your counter and you're going to pray for the orange. Okay. Hey, the Supreme Court would then go, absolutely not. You cannot make anybody follow any religion that is against the First Amendment. So the Supreme Court turns around and tells our legislative or our executive, that's unconstitutional. You cannot do that. Okay? So their entire job is to make sure that the federal government follows the laws and rights that are in the Constitution. Okay. The thing about it is sometimes our Constitution is not that specific. So the Constitution gives us the judicial branch, but it also gives us very few details. Like, for example, the Constitution doesn't tell us how many Supreme Court judges we're going to have. It says we're going to have a Supreme Court, but how many judges? So raise your hand if you think we should have an even number of judges on the Supreme Court. Okay, we got 1, 2. Raise your hand if you think we should have an odd number. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, and then we have about 10 of you that are staring at me going, I don't know what an even or odd number is. Okay, so let me ask you guys a question. Why would we want an even number?
Because, no.
Okay, why would we want an odd number?
Because we don't need a certain amount of we want a different something.
Okay, good try. Yes.
If you're voting on something, and you need it to be split, if you have an even number of people, and
You could have a tie.
So if you have an online, you can split the time one.
Exactly. Very good. Okay.
Miss Bethel,
Yes?
how does the teacher answer the own question?
Listen, we're all just living this life, man. Okay. All right. So an odd number is what you want on the Supreme Court. Do you guys want a 0 for that page? You signed my syllabus, right? Right? So is that yours? You want one? We're not doing that. I have YouTube videos for this exact reason. Put it back in front of you. That was literally what, section 3? Yeah. We're not going to do that in class. Okay? We don't copy off of each other. Okay. So the Supreme Court, it actually doesn't say right off the bat how many judges. Okay? Over the years, Congress has changed that number many times. They tried 7, then they went to 8. Then, of course, they're going to get out of 8 and go to 9. Well, then they went to 10, and then they went back to 9. Okay? Now, we're, 8th grade. I think we talk about it in 8th grade, something called court packing. Okay? We do. We talk about that in the Great Depression era. Okay? So, basically, we have 9 right now. Now, the Constitution doesn't prohibit, it doesn't stop legislation from changing that. So, guys, we could wake up tomorrow morning and Congress has said, guess what, guys? We now have 27 Supreme Court justices. No. Mm-mm. No, and I will explain to you why things are the way that they are here in a second. So, the Supreme Court is the top court in America. You can't just go there and go, I want my case to be heard by the Supreme Court. There's a steps that it has to get through. Okay. Now here locally, we have parish courts. So if you get in trouble or you're suing somebody or your court case is going down a certain path and you don't like the end result of it, you can appeal it. And sometimes you can appeal to the state court, meaning you can go to the Louisiana state and say, I got a problem. I don't like this. Okay. They did me wrong. And the court, the higher court, the state court can turn around and hear your case. Or if something happened that you don't like, your lawyer can file something where the state judge can say, yeah, no, you can't do that in this case. Okay. So each court answers to the next court. Okay. We also have something called judicial circuits. Okay. So circuits, we use that term sometimes in science. Okay. With an electrical circuit, meaning things are all connected. And if one circuit is out, then it doesn't work. Okay. The current doesn't work. Another thing is like a racing circuit. If you are, if you're into like car racing, your racing circuit is the order of races that you're going to do that season. Okay. So circuits, they're all connected to each other. They work together. That is a judicial circuit. And they're all organized by region. So the federal government we have our big Supreme Court, but then we also have smaller miniature Supreme Courts in different areas of the country. Okay, so depending on where you are, if you have a federal case, then a federal case will go into that region. Now, most of the time, for anything to happen, for it to become federal, it must have happened in 2 different states. Okay? So let me see. An example would be, since we're talking about, court cases, kind of has to be crimes. Let's say you were stealing money from a company in Louisiana, but then they had an office in Texas and you were stealing money from them as well. Okay. In theory, okay, that's a federal case because lines are being crossed. Okay. You're doing something in this state, but then traveling to this state. So federal cases normally mean more than one state. Okay. Or you have decided that you're treasonous against the president, that becomes a federal case. Okay. So several judicial circuits can be found throughout the United States. All the lower courts, in each of the judicial circuits are nominated by the president. Now, this is very important. Okay, hold on. I'm almost done. Okay. All judges in the judicial branch are nominated and put there by the current president. Okay. So our Supreme Court right now has 9 people on it. And the majority of those that are on there are currently in the political party of Republican. Okay. Now, as a Supreme Court justice, you are not elected to this position. The president nominates you to be there. And you are there for life. That is a job that you have your entire life. Okay. Now, you don't have to stay there your whole life. You can say, all right, I'm done. I'm tired. Okay. All this arguing over laws, read the Constitution. Okay. You can retire. Whoever is president when you retire, that's who picks your successor. If you die, whoever is president picks your successor. Okay. So, not to make all presidents sound like a bunch of jerks. Okay. But if you are a president and the Supreme Court has more people of the opposite political party than you are, you're sitting there waiting for them to die or retire. Because you want, if you are president, okay, so let's say, I'm going to say I'm the president and I'm actually libertarian. Okay, so it's like in the middle. All right. There is not, I understand, but I asked you to hold on a second. Thank you. Okay, let's say I'm a libertarian. Is there a majority either way, do you think, in Congress for libertarians? Do you think I'm overwhelmingly going to get something voted in on my side? No. Okay, if I'm a Republican, if I say, okay, that is my political party, do you think it's going to be a lot easier for me to get Republicans to vote for something for me than if I was a libertarian? Same thing with Democrats. If I was a Democrat, more of the Democrats are going to support me, right? You want the amount of people on your side. So if a Supreme Court judge dies, you get to put somebody in there that's a part of your political party. Okay? Guys, I just want to let you know it's been happening since 1789. It's not anything new. So as you get older and you're watching the news and the news media is going, oh my gosh, this president putting this person in. They act like it's never been done before. We've been doing it for 250 years. So thank you. Okay. Happens all the time. Republicans have done it. Democrats have done it. Okay. So let's not act like it's something new. All right. The other thing they do is all those little district courts that are all over the place. The president also chooses who replaces those. Okay. So now you might be saying, what if they're bad? What if that person is a bad person? Okay. Well, guess what? The president gets to select them, but Congress has to vote on them. So see how we're talking about this whole checks and balances thing? Okay. Just because the president nominates somebody to be in that spot, that doesn't mean they automatically get it. They have to go through something called Senate confirmation, which is basically the Senate has to confirm it. So they go through this whole big, huge thing where they get asked a bunch of questions. Okay, their social media will get pulled up. Hey, did you tweet this? Did you tweet this 17 years ago?
No, sure. Yes.
Okay, which is why I will always warn you, watch what you guys put on the internet because it will haunt you. Somebody will find it. Okay, so when y'all was doing TikTok dances in the bathroom and you weren't supposed to be because it was school time, guess what? That video of like, oh, is this you 25 years ago not following school rules?
Yep.
Okay. They probably won't go back that far. Okay. But you have to watch the things that you say. Because guess what? You might say something online and in 20 years, now that's controversial and somebody's upset about it. And then they're going to go, yeah, well, 20 years ago, you hated me. Whoa, that's not what I said. Okay. Okay. So in the Constitution, it does state that it is the Senate's job to confirm. It is also the Senate's job to confirm our cabinet. So the president does have the ability to appoint people, but does he have the ability to automatically approve them? No, because Congress has to approve them. So again, when you watch the news media and they're all upset because this person is the cabinet, are we always mad at the president?
Yeah.
No. We're also going to look at Congress and go, well, you voted for him.
I'm mad at Congress.
How you going to be mad he's there? Y'all voted for him. Okay?
I'm not even over there.
It's okay. You'll get there. You're not that far away. It's like 4 years.
I was 18.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you guys are, some of you are what, 12? Some are 13.
6 years away.
Okay. I got some that are 14. All right. So it's getting there, guys. It's going to go really fast. It's going to go really fast. Now you may go.
Yay.
Okay.
Potty pass?
Absolutely.
I'll trade you a marker to save my potty pass.
Absolutely. Listen, why are we still negotiating potty passes? I've already told you how this works.
I don't like giving away my potty pass.
Well, then go potty in between classes. Okay. Huh? No. The only thing potty passes you can trade for are grades at the end of the 9 weeks. Okay. Take a look at somebody at your table and tell them how many judges are on the Supreme Court today.
9.
What she said, 9.
What I said. You read it.
8,000. No, I said not.
That would take forever to get through
27.
court. Could you imagine 9,000? Okay.
I never said 27,000.
No, it was an example.
Oh,
Okay. So, your next question. This one's a little bit more critical thinking. Okay? What did the first Congress have to decide about the Supreme Court? Okay, the first time that we had a Supreme Court, what is it that they had to decide?
Let me say
I love it when I hear you guys get things right.
You're
I
so
don't know
not
if you're
smart.
I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not.
Because you're not smart.
Okay. Who has a good answer for this? Yes.
To decide if it's odd or even.
They had to decide how many, right? That's the first thing. You can't open the doors and be like, hey, Supreme Court's open and have no judges. The first thing we have to decide is how many are going to be on there. Okay. Do me a favor, swipe. Oh, no, I didn't take that to this one. Did you go to the bathroom or did you go somewhere else?
Yeah, my lunch was right by the bathroom.
So we went to 2 different spots.
I saw.
So that if something happened to you and I was like, look in the bathroom and then you weren't there. Okay. All right. So your guiding question. Why does the United States need a federal court system? Why do we need the judicial branch? Okay. So don't tell me. You're going to write it down. How do we start this question? How do we start the answer?
United States.
Which is what?
You gotta read it.
The United States needed a federal system because
There you go.
Okay.
The United States needed a federal court system because blah, 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 blah. Okay? Good job. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a minute to maybe start writing that, and then we're going to move on to the Whiskey Rebellion. The Whiskey Rebellion.
Of course we don't know.
I'm sorry.
All this time.
But the next one is looking at where I think we can't say
I did not like her at all. Dramatic. Stop drawing with your arm.
All right. So now we're going to move on to the Whiskey Rebellion. Do me a favor. Swipe for me. Okay. So, but this time, Swiper does need to swipe. Yep. No, this is a good swiper. This is good. Okay. So the Whiskey Rebellion, this is a mini section in your book. Not because the Whiskey Rebellion is not important. This is more of me just telling you about it. Okay? Because I do feel it's important for you to know. But at the same time, it's not something that's super controlling over our lesson. Now, the Whiskey Rebellion is the first time that we are going to have a rise up from the American people after we create, after we have our government first open. Okay, this is the first time we're going to have some conflict. Okay, now, during President Washington's first year, Congress passes another law regarding the government. The new Constitution gives the federal government the ability to create taxes. Now, think back last year to when you guys were learning social studies. Were taxes a problem?
Yeah.
There was a whole rebellion on taxes. They were very angry about it. So angry that we were willing to throw tea into the Boston Harbor. Right? We started a whole war. We disconnected from Great Britain. We created our own country because we felt the term called taxation without representation, meaning those people that we vote to be in Congress should be representing what we feel. So if I'm a tomato farmer, the person that I've elected should know that if they vote to ban tomatoes, that person should stand up for me, right? Because I voted them in. I'm the American. Okay. In 1789, Congress decides to start taxing products that are shipped to the United States. So these are products that are international products. So, for example, French cheese would be an example. Okay. Yes, tea from Britain. By this time, we've already decided we're not drinking tea. Okay. We're drinking coffee. All right. But any product that you can think of that comes from another country, we are taxing. That doesn't seem to be a big, huge problem. Okay. Alexander Hamilton is okay with this. Now remember, Hamilton is the Department of Treasury Secretary. Treasury meaning money. It's his job to help pay the debts. Okay. So we're bringing in some money. We're starting to pay some bills, but Alexander Hamilton wants us to pay for this a little bit faster. So he says we should tax whiskey.
Oh, no.
Okay. Now, somebody tell me what whiskey is.
An alcoholic drink.
Okay, it's an alcoholic beverage, right? Okay. Now, in 2026, it doesn't seem like a bad idea. Okay, tax whiskey. I mean, we go to the grocery store right now. We still have to pay tax on everything. Okay, so whatever. But we are going to talk about why whiskey was important. Huh? Listen. Okay. Whiskey, to make whiskey, all of the ingredients must go through a very, very important process of distilling. Distilling means that you are purifying the ingredients. Okay? So the final result of whiskey is a very purified and non-germ holding beverage. Okay? Whiskey and other various alcohol has been used in medicines a lot because it's purified. You guys ever get a cut and use an alcohol?
Yes.
Put alcohol? Okay. Okay, rubbing alcohol goes through the same process. Okay? So alcohol can be used to actually help kill things on your body, bacteria. Okay. So whiskey. Okay. Whiskey's been used in dentistry. It's been used in medical because it can help numb areas. Okay. But also, whiskey was clean to drink. Let's talk about water back in the 1800s. Okay. There is a term that maybe you have heard of. It's called so poor you don't have a pot to pee in. Except there's another P word that's used. Okay. Have you ever heard that? Oh my gosh, they're so poor they don't have a pot to pee in.
No, I've never heard that. That's some
Okay.
1800s thing.
Yep, it is. Okay. So guys, when you had to go to the bathroom back in the early 1800s and you were in the city in your house, no,
Pee in a pot and throw it out.
you peed in a pot.
Carry it with them.
You pooped in the pot. It stayed under your bed. And then you'd get up in the morning, you'd open your window and you'd go and throw it out.
Oh, bad day.
Okay. What happens if you live in the city?
It'll stink.
Guess what? All of it's going onto the road.
No, there's no sewages.
There's no sewages. We don't have running water.
Rebecca, what if somebody showed up into your house and you don't pee and poop?
Hey, I guess that could work.
That's what I did. Yeah.
Okay. So here is now the problem is that, guys, think about it. When it rains, what happens to all the rain?
It goes into the street. It rains, it pours.
Goes into the ground. The ground soaks it up.
Yes.
Okay. Or it can evaporate too. Okay. Soaks into the ground. It goes into something called the water table. Okay. The water table is literally, this is science class apparently today. The water table is down below the ground. The water comes out and it flows out to rivers and streams and things like that. Okay. What do you think happens to all the pee?
Oh, that's
God. No, I'm gonna start.
What happens to the poop? Okay, the poop is going to break down and it's going to start to go. So, guys, it wasn't very clean. Okay. So, the water itself wasn't very clean. Even if you were out in like the frontier, okay, you could go to a river. It could look pretty clear. You could dip your canteen and you could drink it. And then 3 days later, be very, very, very sick. What you didn't know is that there was a dead deer decomposing in the creek just north of that, and all the bacteria was coming down. So what I'm trying to get at to you guys is that water wasn't always very trustworthy to drink. Okay. But whiskey went through that process of being clean. Okay. Now, well, in 2026, sure, you can filter it. We're talking about 1790. Okay, they didn't have filters.
1789.
Okay, well, 1789 is when we got our country. So, all right, yes,
But they filter the whiskey themselves.
they will well, to create whiskey is like a distilling process and all this stuff, right? Because they didn't. Where they're not just going to store water all over the place. Just they didn't. We do now. We have it in water bottles, right? Okay, listen.
How long has America been a thing?
Like the 50s.
2,000 years?
No. Listen. You pay attention to where we're at right now. Okay. So here's the problem. People are mad. Alexander Hamilton thought of this idea. Congress agreed with it, and George Washington signed it into law. But the farmers are pretty upset. Okay, especially the farmers who grow corn. Corn is very essential to making whiskey. Okay? There's different kinds of whiskey, but this one in particular. Ladies in the back. So if they put a tax on whiskey, they're not just taxing imports now. Now they're taxing American products. That's the first problem. Okay, wait a minute. Why are you taxing us? Second of all, if there's now a whiskey tax and people stop buying the whiskey, are they going to stop making it?
No.
Why? Why make it if nobody's going to buy it? Okay, so if the whiskey makers don't make the whiskey anymore, then they don't need the corn. So what happens to the corn farmers?
They're useless.
They don't got money.
They no longer get
Right.
money.
They don't have money. They're not selling their goods. Whiskey was actually so valuable that sometimes, even if people didn't have money, they would be willing to trade whiskey to buy things. So the farmers really feel like the federal government is personally attacking them, that they are coming after them, and they have a problem. The other thing about this is they think that this really violates their rights. Now, remember, Congress is allowed to make tax. That's the first thing we said. The Constitution says that Congress can tax the people. Now, the people think this is unconstitutional. Is it?
Yeah. No.
It's not. Okay, Congress can tax us. All right, so it's not, we don't have to like it. Well, the farmers, especially those in Pennsylvania, they get together and they say, you want to know what? We are not paying this tax. We're boycotting. We're not doing it. We're done. This is stupid.
It is.
And guys, remember, okay, we just fought a war over taxes. The very farmers who are upset about this are the exact ones who just won the war. So now they're going, what are we fighting for?
There's no point that they.
America, freedom.
And them, they're guys, and you know what else they're thinking? We just overthrew the British Army.
Or what?
We good. Come at me, bro.
Oh, bro. Oh, so they're confident.
They're confident.
They broke.
They're like, we just beat them. Bye. See you later. We have our own government. So I'm not going to pay these taxes because what you going to do? What are you going to do? You gonna bring the U.S. Army? I built the U.S. Army. Okay? So guys, these farmers are very, very confident. So confident that not only do they decide not to pay their taxes, but when the tax collectors come around, the farmers start threatening the tax collectors. Okay, they start threatening them with violence. Now, George Washington does empathize a little bit. Do you guys know what empathize means?
Yeah.
Sympathize.
Okay, he feels bad. He's kind of like, okay, I kind of see why these guys are mad. Okay, I kind of get it a little bit. But he also believes, yeah, I feel bad for you, bro, but that's the law. Like, I know it sucks, but it's the law. We have to follow the law. Okay? So he knows it's incredibly important that he has to show the American people, even if he understands why they're mad, you have to follow the law. So George Washington goes into his closet. He finds his old military uniform from the American Revolution. He puts it on and he leads 13,000 United States soldiers to Western Pennsylvania to calm down what is known as the Whiskey Rebellion. Now, this is our first rebellion, our first fight as a country, and no shots were fired. Nobody died. Okay? All the farmers are out there. They're feeling pretty confident in themselves. They're hooping and hollering. And then the soldiers come and they go,
Oh, yeah.
you know what? I think my wife said I had something to do today. I think I better need to go home. Okay?
Kids need me.
They surrender their weapons. Some of them run away. All right. Now, the leaders were arrested. They were tried. They were convicted in court, okay, for rising up against the government. But George Washington does eventually let them go. He does eventually say, all right, look, I'm going to pardon you. You're not going to go to jail for this. We're going to make this go away. All right. Eventually, he made them sit in there a little bit, okay, feel their consequence. But George Washington did understand why they would be so upset, okay? But it did show that the federal government will come down and handle business if they have to, okay? Do you guys remember when I talked with you guys about precedents at the beginning? Do you think that maybe how George Washington handled this was a precedent?
Yeah.
The first time that we have a rebellion, he puts his uniform on, he goes into Pennsylvania and says, we're not doing this. You're going to follow the law. Okay? I think that's pretty cool, right? Now, in theory, it's pretty cool, but people are even upset about what George Washington did. They think that the fact that he used troops, military, to go in and quell the rebellion was wrong. He never should have used soldiers. Okay? They don't think that it was right. It highlighted the strength of the national government and its willingness to exercise its powers. But the farmers are now very upset with Hamilton. They're very upset with the Federalist Party because remember, it was Hamilton's idea for the whiskey tax. So now all the farmers slowly decide we don't want to be a part of him anymore. Now they start to join the side of the Democratic Republicans. Okay? Now Thomas Jefferson looks like the guy that they want to start following. Okay. So take a look at your table. Tell somebody, how did Alexander Hamilton propose to pay the country's debt? What was his idea? All right. Hey, what did many of the settlers on the western frontier think of this tax?
They hated it. They wanted it. They started a rebellion. No hate.
All right. Swipe me.
Swiper, go swiper.
You lost Oro. I was like, no.
Now this one has quite a few questions on it.
Scary.
All right. Discuss with your table. What do the farmers in West Virginia, Pennsylvania do to respond to the tax?
They was used and then they for everyone.
No, it's so smart.
Wake up.
Yes.
It's just like it. And then they fell.
All right. How does the government respond to the whiskey rebellion?
He get a full group of people and watch.
Don't tell me. I already know. I have the degree. Tell somebody at your table. No. No. The chicken is on a hiatus. He is not squeezable right now. Yes. Yes.
Does that mean like I can spill some tea that I have about like something that happened? Oh yeah.
Hey. Listen, let's get through our lesson first. That's not the most important thing.
How long do we have that text? It's nothing bad.
Which text?
Well, which one? The only one that we can see. Yeah.
Were you? You didn't see this one?
Oh, no.
Boyfriend.
Yes.
What?
Tears.
No, I want eyebrows.
Boyfriend.
So I can have like angry eyebrows and. All right. Why do you think that Washington pardoned the leaders of the rebellion instead of punishing them? Why do you think Washington made that choice?
Because he's a sweet guy.
Okay, think about it. Why did George Washington pardon? Oh, excuse me. Okay, swipe.
Oh, I see one of them.
Oh, that's right. It was a mini session. You can go back. I forgot mini sessions don't have a guiding question on them. All right, so no guiding question this time. All right, 10:18. Okay, good. We've got some extra time here. So, does anybody have any questions on the judicial system or on the whiskey rebellion? Anybody have any questions? Okay, so that's the end of today's lesson. So what we're going to do now is if there's anything that you've missed, okay, this is a perfect time to get your guys' journals together. Okay, listen up. Tomorrow we will actually finish our lesson. Wednesday, we will be doing our primary sources. Thursday will be the last opportunity for you to catch up on anything that you're missing in your journal. And I'm looking out here and I know we got some empty journals. Listen to me. I'm not joking when I say this. I'm not accepting your journal late. You turn it in with what you got. Okay? So don't come and say, oh my gosh, Miss Bethel, I didn't have any time. There's time in class. There's for sure going to be time on Thursday. You guys had the weekend. Okay? But it will be turned in to me at the end of class on Friday. Cool? Fantastic. Okay. Yes.